Morning, this is the Eager Beaver Show.
You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Misfit Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters, CanadianTarot.com, your uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community, and the Peppermaster, hot pepper sauces made from farm-fresh ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind. Well, good morning and hello, kids, and welcome to season 4 and episode number 382 of the Daily Beaver Morning Show here on the Crier Media Network. Yeah. Threw in a little extra bass today. Yeah.
All about the bass, no trouble.
It's all about the bass, yes. No trouble or no trouble. All right. I have no trouble with the bass. Today, recording day, is Wednesday, May 15th, 2024, or as we call it, Beaver Sweetie Birthday Eve.
It's my sister's birthday today.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so shout out to my sister Rhonda. It's her
Happy birthday, Rhonda. I hope it's as fabulous as Mr. Grizzly is.
Oh, yeah.
Or hey. Well, why am I soft pedaling? I hope it's as fabulous as I am. Have a great birthday. I'm your host, the Eager Beaver, pronouns he, him, hey, Mr. Beaver A. And with me, as always, is my good friend, Mr. Grizzly. Big thank you goes to our podcast founding sponsors, the Peppermaster, the Misfit Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, and CanadianTarot.com. I have a little nibble for you today, but before we do anything else, Mr. Grizzly, how's your mental health today? And that is a great color on you.
Oh, thank you. Mental health-wise, I'm good. Physical health-wise, I feel like garbage.
Ugh. Allergies?
Yeah, they're really kicking my butt. I was suffering horribly last night. Took Lola out this morning. My eyes were just running constantly. So, although it's raining today, so it might diminish some of the pollen in the air, but time will tell. There's also a high pressure system coming in, so the sinuses are just. For those of us who suffer from weather patterns and allergies, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. It's not Kit Saucy, you're right. Paul's shirt is a beautiful color. I don't envy anyone that has allergies. I would not trade places at all. All right, kits and cubs. Again, as we're going to be doing probably a lot over the course of the next few months, the coast to coast to coast wildfire update.
Yes. I hate it.
Yeah, me too. There is an out-of-control wildfire burning near Fort McMurray, as we mentioned before. So similar to 6 years ago when they had the Beast, 6,000 people have been ordered to leave their neighborhoods right now. 90% of the city has been told to prepare to flee. The fire is nearly 21,000 hectares in size, and shifting winds are pushing it nearer to the community. The regional fire chief says that this fire is much less volatile than the Beast because it's burning low to the ground and slowly through areas that have been burned before. So just because there's less fuel in those areas. For everyone in the areas, please remember that as part of your emergency preparedness for this, the stuff that you need to have ready close to you are all because when you get an evacuation order, you get minutes. All your documents, the deed to your house if you have it, your passport if you have one, your social
Yeah.
insurance number,
Stuff you really
bank
need to
files.
grab.
Yeah, like this. Put that all in an envelope. Like this, if you have a filing cabinet, put it the first thing in the front, or if you have like a drawer for that type of thing, whatnot, or like this, or if you have an emergency preparedness bag or whatnot, just have it there because trust me, if you have to leave quickly and if you do lose a lot, it's going to go much, much, much easier if you have your documents.
Oh, yeah.
Right. And please always make sure to have some water in the trunk of your car or somewhere in your car and some candles as well in case, you have to sleep in your car overnight and it gets a little cold. A candle can do wonders. All right. To help warm you up. All right. In British Columbia, a widening area around the northeastern community of Fort Nelson is under evacuation orders due to the Parker Lake wildfire, which is burning just 2 kilometers from the city. And that's about 80 square kilometers in size. And the larger Patriot Creek blaze, which is about 25 kilometers from Fort Nelson, is growing aggressively. And it's about at least 5 times the size of the other fire. So at least 400 kilometers squares large. So far, the Patriot Creek blaze is not posing a threat to the community for now. Conditions for fighting the blaze are considered to be a little more favorable. Ben Bogdine, who's a fire behavior specialist, says the closest one is just 2 kilometers away. He says that reduced winds have resulted in favorable fire. Sorry, let me try that again. Reduced winds have resulted in favorable firefighting conditions, a reduction in
Good.
fire behavior, and minimal fire growth towards the community. In Manitoba, Premier Wab Kinew took a flyover to get a briefing from fire officials. The wildfire threatening Cranberry Portage, which is a northwestern community in the province, is about 31,000 hectares in size and burning within 2 kilometers of Cranberry Portage. There, too, there are favorable winds that have kept the fire from spreading, allowing fire crews to ramp up. About 50 firefighters have arrived from Ontario to help, but there are about 500 evacuees. The fire is said to be burning hot and deep there, and it could take weeks to put out. With much of Manitoba's boreal forest having been assessed to be under drought conditions, the Premier said that he is preparing for a long season, and the thing that is the most notable to him so far is that, just how early everything has pretty much started this year.
Yeah.
As we mentioned a couple of shows ago, even though it started early, it was so far not as intense as last year. At least that was the case a few days ago. But I don't know now if that is still the situation, because there are, I think, easily over 100 wildfires now. Because a couple of days ago it was 60, and then it was 80, and now I believe it's over 100. So it is growing rapidly. I just don't know how we right now how we are compared to last year. We are in the
Yeah,
second
it's really
finale
early.
season, and it is supposed to be worse.
Yeah.
Then this 5-year cycle, the second year is supposed to be the roughest one, apparently. So yeah, we'll see what happens there, but we're getting at the point where mobilizing. We haven't yet called out for international help like we did last year. Remember, we got people from many places, including those people from South Africa who not only brought some help, but a little bit of song and
Some spirit. Yeah.
joy and some spirit, because we kind of needed it. It was pretty dark. In the States, there's already, if you're listening to news from the United States, you're already hearing reports of air quality in about 6 or 7 states being bad because of those fires down in Canada that we're sending down to them, I guess.
Up in Canada.
Yes. So, yeah, down in Canada, sorry. But, well, they don't know when they print the map of the United States. The United States is an island in an ocean.
Yes. Yeah. Well, and I'm sure you've seen some of the videos on YouTube Shorts and TikToks and that where they interview. There's a guy who does a series. He just goes and he goes asks them 5 questions and they get them all wrong, and he goes, "That's correct. That's correct." Like he's He just doesn't even want to debate with them because they're so convinced they're right that Europe is a country. Hawaii is another country, not part of the United States.
And so is Africa, I bet.
Yeah, well, it's the amount of people who, this is the one that kills me. They've gone to the airport, they're in New York, and they're going to fly to Hawaii or in California and fly to Hawaii. And the TSA agent goes, "Where's your passport?" She goes, "I don't need one." "Well, you're flying to Hawaii." "Yes. And Hawaii is part of the United States of America. I do not need." "Yes, you do." And the TSA agent is insisting. I'm like, can we have a minimum requirement for these folks when they have a knowledge of geography? Like, good Lord.
You're working at a freaking airport.
You should at
Pick
least
up a globe.
You should at least know that Hawaii is part of the United States. Now, there's the whole issue of stolen land. And I'm not getting into that.
Yeah.
Okay. That's not what I'm talking about here.
Right.
It's not up for debate. It's a thing, and it's not my fight. But it is recognized internationally as the 50th state of the United States of America.
Yes.
That's why they call it Hawaii 5-0. For those of you who didn't know, because I was surprised to find out there are people who didn't know that.
I did not know that.
Oh, really?
I thought 5-0. I thought 5-0 was a police term.
No, well, it's
like
been
Johnny
referred
5-0.
to. Yeah, it's been referred to as the police in slang because 5-0, because it meant Hawaii 5-0, which was Steve McGarrett, and then the reincarnated one, or the updated one, I guess you could say, of Hawaii 5-0. So yeah, Hawaii 5-0 is about it's the 50th state. Yeah, there you go, and it's part of the U.S. And you don't need a passport if you're an American citizen to fly to Puerto Rico either. Because it's a protectorate. So if you're born in Puerto Rico, you're a U.S. citizen.
Oh,
it's not a state.
That's true.
It's a protectorate, but you have U.S. citizenship. But if you were born in American Samoa, you don't have U.S. citizenship and you can't vote. But you're part of the United States. That's a very complex issue, that one. I don't understand that one at all.
Yeah. Every time somebody says 5-0, exactly, Gen 5-0's police, I think that because I think of the song, if people know it, Let's Have a Kiki by the Scissor Sisters. And at the beginning, you have the woman in the group who goes by Animatronic, who's like she's talking on the phone to someone, and she's going this, and I'm greeted at the door not by Miss Rose, but our friend Johnny 5-0. Yes, honey, the NYPD shut down the party.
5-0 is police, slang for police, but yes, 5-0 means police, but it comes from the television show Hawaii 5-0, the 50th state, and Hawaii 5-0 was a police procedural show for those of you who aren't up to date on that. So we're all up to date on that. Yes, that's correct too, Mr. Jim. If you're born in Guam, you also have U.S. citizenship because it is too a protectorate.
Yeah, indeed. A couple of a little bit of extra news from those fires here, because I had the news in two clumps from last night and this morning. As of last night, the blaze bearing down on Fort Nelson continues to grow in size and intensity, which again forced a complete evacuation of the community. Meanwhile, to the south, the other wildfire has forced the evacuation of the Doig River First Nation, which we mentioned yesterday. And as we mentioned, Fort St. John, to where everybody had evacuated, is next on the list. It seems that this could be proved to be complicated, according to the CBC, because Fort St. John is already the evacuation epicenter for thousands of people. Nearly 4,500 have made the 4-hour drive from the north, where the Parker Lake wildfire was burning dangerously close to Fort Nelson. John Roper, a Fort Nelson City Councillor who is now sheltering in Grand Prairie, Alberta, says all happened very quickly, but I will say to you that we were prepared to leave just with the conditions and the predictions for the hot summer. It wasn't a huge surprise, but it all happened very fast. Wow. So there you go. In Alberta, they were still talking about favorable winds. They had them also yesterday throughout the day, so that helped them fight the fire. And there's another growing wildfire in the Alberta area, just about 4 kilometers from the hamlet of TP Creek. So that's just outside Grand Prairie as well, but closer to TP Creek. So please be careful. everyone. And do listen to the evacuation orders. And do remember, people, if you have friends that are affected, cbc.ca/light, LITE, low bandwidth service for people to maintain contact with rapidly changing information.
Right.
Okay, so that part is done. Yesterday, we talked about the Prime Minister very briefly going to St. Thomas to make an announcement on childcare spaces, saying that he had $200 million more for childcare spaces for the province of Ontario. Yesterday, it was Chrystia Freeland who was out giving a presser on this. She was in Nova Scotia, and she was announcing the creation of 9,500 new childcare spaces there. And that kind of intervention, or that budget selling or childcare selling tour, the project for this initiative is continuing today. So clearly, this is a strategy from the federal government, but this time it will be, I believe it is, yes, Social Development Minister Jetta Suds, Public Safety Minister Dominic LeBlanc, that will be sharing the details of new funding during separate appearances on the site of a future YMCA childcare center in St. John's and the University of New Brunswick. So I'm guessing that they're going to be having a minister or two go to every province over a certain number of days to make an announcement. So first it was Ontario, then was Nova Scotia, today it's New Brunswick. Don't know what it will be after, but they're really selling just like they were selling the budget, doing a pre-tour. They're really selling the childcare announcements this particular week. So good.
Well, and hasn't the ball been dropped here in Ontario on both childcare and housing from
Yes.
federal government money? Yeah.
Yes. Well,
Makes
as we
sense.
reported yesterday, right, 8 of the 10 provinces are already at $10 a day
Yeah.
childcare, and the plan for that was to have that in 5 years. There are 2 provinces that are not sure what the second one is because the article didn't state it, but one of them
Alberta.
is Ontario. Well,
Alberta.
Ontario and Alberta.
Come on. I mean,
Of course.
because Daniel's underfunding. You know, here's the thing. Here's the thing I don't get. Now, please, if you can explain this conundrum to me. So there are people in the UCP and the Reform Party, also known as the Conservative Party of Canada, who want to make abortion illegal, correct? They want to put a law around it and
Yep.
forbid women from having the right to make a health decision, a medical choice. That's part A. Part B, they refuse to fund childcare, but insist you have a child.
Mhm.
Please explain this to me. Because if you can't have A, you should absolutely have B.
So it's,
But they want neither.
yes. So I'm starting to wonder, are they really pro-life?
No.
Or
They're
are they
pro-birth.
just, but are they really pro-birth because they believe in the sanctity of life, or are they really pro-birth because birth keeps the little woman at home?
Well, and it also creates more human capital for the meat grinder of an economy that both Alberta and Ontario have, A, and B, you have these religious zealot people who, and I'm not going to say their names directly, but some of them are members of parliament who believe in the foolish idea of the white replacement theory, who want to cut back on immigration because it's like they just trip over themselves. They want to cut immigration because we don't have enough housing, but we need to have more children, so ban abortion. What? Oh, that's the racist dog whistle. That's all that is.
Mm-hmm.
That's all that is a racist dog whistle. They want more white babies because they're afraid of being replaced by immigrants. They want to cut down on immigration because they say we don't have enough housing, but they insist on more white babies.
And then they won't build the housing.
And then they won't build the housing, and they won't fund the childcare. Every single one of you people who believe in that shit can go straight to hell if you believe in hell, because you're cutting off your nose to spite your face.
Mm-hmm. And the thing is that while we were talking about, everybody's talking about the Great Replacement. It's not so much the Great Replacement. I mentioned the other day that there was a brainwashing exercise, and brainwashing wasn't the correct term because we were talking about
They don't have a brain.
particularly. No, come on, particularly. That's not very nice. But we were talking about how we're losing men under 50.
Mm-hmm.
Specifically, they seem to have been targeted, and we're losing them. It's not some, and it's just learn. It's not a brainwashing; it's a rewiring.
Yes,
We're having the great rewiring with social media and whatnot like this. People's brains are. It's not they're being brainwashed; they're just being rewired to think a different way.
yes.
And of course, we have like all the technology in the world, the AI, the computer analysis, the things that and analyze all your data and to develop a psychological profile of you, and to help them. Whereas us here at home, everyday Canadians don't have access to all that technology.
Mm-hmm.
So we are being studied,
well,
essentially to find out where our rifts are, where our sense of where our as we say in French, nos cordes sensibles, where our sensitive chords are, which ones do we pluck in order to get us to do or behave or in certain ways, or to open up our wallets or to get angry at someone else. But somebody's always plucking at something
constantly. It's
constantly
never-ending.
Yes, and it's a it's organized, right? That's the thing, is they're, without saying that it's a conspiracy theory, there are people, because if you're agnostic about how it is you make your money,
Mm-hmm.
right? Remember during the United States when they were having all those protests, I guess, and we found out when they did all the analysis, the Cambridge Analytica stuff, we got through, we found out that there was like the same people were starting, show up 10 p.m. at this neighborhood in this town for an abortion protest. Show up at this neighborhood in this town for an anti-abortion protest. And it was the same person somewhere in another country that created those both those accounts to try to gin that up. So there is a movement, and I'll give you an example of this that's happening right here in Canada. Mr. Grizzly, if you will put this on your screen, we will not play the video like this. We'll just have the image. And
so you just want me to freeze the image?
Just well, you can let it go like this. We just don't have to like play the clip with the volume. We'll just let it go. But this person here, all right, I've talked about him a couple times before. Because you'll see him a lot. He basically tries to steal Pee-Pee's shtick. He's got a high voice like him. He's got glasses. He flaps his arms around a lot when he makes these videos like this and points and
politicians like Olivia Chow.
So don't play him, but just show him. So here you got this guy, right? You got the soft lighting, the drab background. Okay, this is Spencer Fernando. He's the head of the Canadian Taxpayers Federation. To me, he's Romana Didillo in bad. Is it the drag queen, the drag king version of Romana Didillo?
Agreed.
Okay. Now, please, Mr. Grizzly, read this tweet.
Politicians like Olivia Chow, Jagmeet Singh, and Heather McPherson are the types of people who help evil flourish. You can't build a great nation or defend civilization with those types of people in charge.
Okay. This is a fascist tweet.
It absolutely is.
Okay.
Absolutely.
It refers to those people. Right? Its only purpose is to tell you who to hate today. Right? And in this case, well, let's see. Who should we hate? Olivia Chow, female, visible minority. Jagmeet Singh, visible minority. Obvious religious minority because he wears a turban.
Yes.
And Heather McPherson, women. So women, religious minorities, and visible minorities are who we should hate today. And look at this guy, because he does not strike me as a paragon of whiteness.
No. And what he does not realize is that he is the cudgel that will be tossed aside once they get their way. He's
sitting there calmly, look at his face with the soft light and whatnot, like talking to you, not excited, Not
Mhm.
like his other videos when he's standing in front of the gas stations holding a newspaper, going, like this, calmly telling you why it is that you should hate these people. Because here, right, are the types of people who help evil flourish. And once again, I ask you, kids and cubs, when you are told that you are facing evil, what is the solution for evil? You exterminate it.
That's what they're calling for. It's a dog whistle. It's what it is.
Fascist tweet. This guy from the Canadian Taxpayer Federation, an organization which I believe has been asked several times to make its membership list public and refuses to do so, but calls on transparency from everybody in government, but won't
Funny
do
how
it
that is.
themselves. Like this. Politicians like Olivia Chow, Jagmeet Singh, and Heather McPherson are the types of people who help evil flourish. Now, he's got this under his private account under Spencer Fernando. Spencer, the lights were not so bright, Fernando. Instead of the Canadian Taxpayers Federation, so he's saying this as himself, not as the leader. But you got to kind of wonder why it is that the leader of the Canadian Taxpayers Federation would want to go out on a limb and start freelancing on issues that have nothing to do with taxation and thus ruin the brand of the Canadian Taxpayers Federation if the Canadian Taxpayers Federation was an organization that was primarily concerned with taxation.
Well, it makes you
which
think
it is
they're
not.
Probably not.
It is not. They got involved in the gun control debate a few years ago.
What has that got to do with taxes?
Bingo.
Other than the cost to implement the program.
Yes, but they weren't talking about the cost. They were talking about punishing.
Yeah.
Punishing law-abiding.
So, Canadian Taxpayers Federation is a veil title. It's just a thin veil. It's a title to keep you believing that's what they're doing. They're not.
If this was an episode of Coffee Talk about, I'm Coffee Talk, I'm Lady Richmond, I'm a little bit clamped, discuss amongst yourselves, I'll give you a topic. The Canadian Taxpayers Federation is not much a federation, not very Canadian, and nothing about taxpayers.
Nope.
Discuss.
It's about pushing a right-wing populist agenda by white people who are for some reason fear being replaced. When people talk about the Great Replacement Theory, you know what my stance on it is? I don't give a shit. I don't care. In 100 years, most of us are going to be some shade of brown anyway. And even then, so what?
I got a head start.
Yeah. So what? Who gives a shit? Really? Like, really? Really? I don't give a damn. I don't care at all. At all. At one point in time, most of the world was a dark shade of brown.
Mm-hmm. And, that sounds like a Moody Blues song.
Yes.
Dark shade of brown. Anyway, but hey, and with climate change getting worse,
yep.
You might actually be happy for the additional melanin. Just
Yeah.
saying. It might come in handy.
This whole, it's what the white replacement theory is, to begin with, bullshit. Number one, and number two, I don't care. And it was Jane. Oh, we showed her clip last week.
Yes.
Why do I always forget her name? Somebody remind me. She does the thing on Blue Eyes. She's brilliant. She talks about race in a way that nobody ever has before. Jane Elliott. Thank you. Genius. She's a genius individual. And she quoted from a former cabinet member or something like that. Anyway, congressperson, whatever the case was. Jane Elliott. Thank you, Saucy. She's a genius, period. And she breaks it down better than anybody I've ever seen. And pillories white people constantly, and justifiably so. I have learned so much from her over the years. I was first introduced to her, I think, on Oprah back in the mid-'80s. And I'm like, this woman is a genius. She taught me more in one episode of Oprah than anybody ever had about race relations and the advantages white people have. That was a very eye-opening day for me. I think I was about, 17 at the time? I was like, holy crap, I had no idea. How could I know? How could I know? I'm shielded from it, right?
Hmm?
The prime minister admittedly said, I had a blind spot there when he did the blackface thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because he did not know what he was doing was bad, because no one told him. No one told him it was bad. So if you do something wrong and nobody tells you it's wrong, how do you learn from that? You don't learn if nobody tells you what you did was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So you watch Jane Elliott when you get a chance, and you're going to learn so much from her.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that's why we have that Maya Angelou saying, do the best you can until you know better. Once you know better, do better.
Exactly. Oh, yes, that's correct. Alice Munro and Diane Deans both passed away.
Yes, indeed. Now, Diane Deans, we talked about her on a previous show. She's a long-time city councillor in Ottawa who...
She was in palliative care for quite some time now, I guess.
Yes, for quite some time. She is one of the longest-serving councillors in Ottawa history,
Yes.
actually. So she died at the age of 61, just 2 weeks after entering palliative care for
It was 2
ovarian
weeks.
cancer. Yeah, a disease
She'd
she's
been
lived with
fighting.
for
She'd
5
been.
years.
Thank you. That's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
She'd only been in palliative care for a short time, but it was a 5-year battle with cancer.
Yeah. Despite her diagnosis, Diane continued to live every day to its fullest with a fighting spirit, unwavering tenacity, courage, and compassion. She served as an Ottawa City Councillor for 28 years. Even after her diagnosis, Diane continued to fight for issues of importance to Ottawa residents and leaving an indelible mark on countless people's lives, said the statement from her family. Mayor Mark Sutcliffe said, I'm profoundly sad after hearing about news of her passing. She was so young and still a very active person, and she's given so much of her life to this community. It's a tremendous loss. And Nepean MPP Lisa McLeod posted about how much she admired Deans. My family and I want to extend our heartfelt condolences to the family of Diane Deans. I remember Diane taking her young daughter to City Hall when I was a staffer, and I marveled that she could be a mom and counselor. About a decade later, I found the strength and determination to be a mom and MPP myself. That's because I had role models like Diane and Jan Harder who showed me I could. Diane did many things, but advancing women in politics will be her forever legacy. So there you go. She was also a graduate of the University of Guelph.
I didn't know that.
Neither did I. I just learned that today. So yes, that is Diane Deans, and of course, Alice Munro.
Brilliant author.
Passed away. Yes, brilliant author, recognized as the master of the short story. And when I say recognized, I mean really recognized, because in
Pulitzer
2013,
Prize.
yes, not only that, Pulitzer Prize, two Giller Prizes, Man Booker International Award, and in 2013, the first Canadian to receive the Nobel Prize for literature.
So, I mean,
stories.
Just not, kind of an underachiever.
Exactly. I was going to say, just your classic Canadian underachiever.
Yeah.
Right. So she, one of her most famous pieces was called Away from Her, which became a movie that was directed by Sarah Polley, if I remember correctly. It has to do with Away from Her, some an elderly couple, and one of them has Alzheimer's, I think, or dementia.
Brilliant film.
Absolutely.
Gordon Pinsent was in that, was he not? The late Gordon Pinsent, if memory serves.
I believe so.
Pretty sure he was.
Yeah, it was a 2006 movie. Yeah, Gordon Pinsent was in that. Yeah, absolutely.
And
Julie Christie.
Yeah.
Olympia Dukakis. Wendy Crewson.
And I always mix that up, even though they're different films about different subject matter, but both by Canadian directors. I always mix that up with The Sweet Hereafter, which was also a brilliant film. That's an Adam Goyan film.
Yeah, that's a tough film to watch, though.
Yeah. So is.
Yeah, they're not light movies, but they are great.
You need to be emotionally prepared to watch both films. Period.
Yeah. Even Nina Dobrev wasn't Away from Her. I didn't know that.
I didn't know that.
Dobrev, that a lot of people might know from Degrassi.
Yeah. She's gone on to have a pretty darn good career.
A really good career. I think, other than Drake, she's probably the person from Degrassi who's had the biggest international career.
Internationally, yes. Stacey Mistysyn has gone on to have a pretty good career,
but more behind the camera, I believe, right?
No, she's done a lot of film work and television work, but not big international stuff. But I mean, she's earned a living, right? So
yeah,
and
because
I saw
I
a picture of her just the other day.
Okay, I thought she had gotten into directing.
She's done a little bit of that too. But I saw a picture of her the other day, and I'm like, Jesus, she's 52. Wow,
what?
She looks better today than she did when she was a teenager on that show. I'm not kidding.
She's 50. Holy crap, Stacey.
Yeah. She's a bit of a fitness buff.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, ripped 6-pack abs, like way to go, Stacy. Like,
Well, let's show this.
I'm trying to find. Oh, there it is. Hang on.
I got it right here.
Yeah, she's stronger with
She's all
Stacy was
stronger.
dishing. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
okay, way to go.
Yeah.
You just never know where people look at this. She's gorgeous.
Yeah, 52. Way to go, Stacy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cool. Good for her. I love that.
Oh yeah, no.
I love it when the interesting thing about child actors when they don't go bad.
Yeah.
Like this, and then you see what they become. Some remain actors, but then some go on
Completely different. Yeah.
Like I learned the other day, I didn't know, but Mayim Bialik, who was on Big Bang Theory and then went on to host Jeopardy, actually does have like a PhD in like nuclear physics or something.
Well, I think actually it has to do more along with her character on The Big Bang Theory was actually what she did. Studied the human brain. She's a genius.
It's just right. Blossom has a PhD.
Yeah. Tonight
in like something like
special Blossom.
Yes, in like very, very yes, exactly.
She's a neuroscientist. Thank you, Jim.
Blossom,
Jim.
we have to stop your math addiction.
Yeah. Not math. 52 is young because I'll be 56 soon, but way to go, Stacy, is all I'm saying. That's it, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's all I'm saying. Good genes there. I want to talk to you about something today that it happened, I think, yesterday. There was a protest going on, a Palestinian protest. They go on daily here in Ottawa. Sometimes they march, sometimes they just go down to City Hall. They usually end at City Hall. Yesterday there was one where they started on Elgin Street, walked up Elgin to City Hall. They go to the International, to Nelson Mandela Park, where there's the statue, sculpture. That's the word I was looking for. Darn it, it's escaping me right now. Anyway, it all falls part and parcel, and oftentimes that's where the thing ends. But yesterday, I guess there was a woman waving a Palestinian flag, wearing a hijab, and somebody tried to yank the hijab off her. And somebody wrote here, and I'm gonna read this tweet, and then I'm gonna make a comment on it. So bear with me. So from Gada Sasa, at Sasa_Gada. Today, a Zionist yanked the hijab off my dear family friend as she attended a rally in Ottawa. By flying a flag representing an ongoing genocide, Canada emboldened Zionists to assault Palestinians and Muslims on the morning before the NABCA and right in front of the camera. Now, here's my comment. I think labeling the person a Zionist is not necessarily correct. I think we can just label this person a racist asshole. Because I think that person would yank the hijab off of any person, whether they were waving a Palestinian flag or not. To call them a Zionist, I don't know. We don't know that the person's a Zionist. Racist asshole? What's the word I'm looking for? Outside of... darn it, I'm drawing a blank here this morning. I've only had one cup of coffee, can you tell? When you are a...
I don't know.
I can't
participate.
When you're afraid of others, but you're not racist, you're xenophobic.
Xenophobic, okay.
I'll call them a xenophobic asshole or a racist asshole. I don't know that they're a Zionist. So, that's an assumption. Mm-hmm. But either way, not cool. I mean, look, what can we do to change the war over there? You can voice your opinion, sure. Is it going to do anything? I doubt it. There was a parade yesterday on Elgin Street. I was out taking Lola for her 8 p.m. walk. And every day at 8 p.m., she just comes up to me like, hey, come on, we got to go. We got to go. So I take her out and I get her down to Elgin Street. And I start hearing drum beats. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? I look over and I say, oh, okay, they're just marching. So they're beating the drum and chanting over a megaphone. And Lola was not disturbed by it, but she was just like, what is going on? What's with the banging on the drum and the yelling in the group? So I waited. They walked by, and then we went down around, and I greeted. There was a group of young men and a gentleman, probably about my age. They were all standing in a circle, just talking. A couple of guys had the full head, like the kefias. All you could see was their eyes. I don't blame them. They want to come out and protest, and they don't want any blowback on their families or friends or workplace or whatever the case may be. They're allowed to do that. I don't have an issue with it. If they're not causing harm, they're not doing anything illegal, right? So
Mhm.
then, of course, what does Lola do? Sees a group of people standing in a circle. Oh, they must want my attention. So she walks right into the circle, and the one guy's like, "Oh my goodness!" The young lad, youngest guy, is like, "Oh, wow, can I?" I'm like, "Yeah, go ahead, pet her. She's super friendly. She loves people." And he pets her, and he's taking a picture. He goes, "Oh my God, what's her name?" I'm like, "Lola. She's a Dogo Argentino." The older gentleman, we had a nice chat. I'm like, "Okay, guys, take care. Have a good evening." A perfectly nice exchange. You know
Right.
why? Because I'm not an asshole. It's real simple. Don't be an asshole. It's not complicated. Just be nice to people. How difficult is that?
Yep.
Do I have to agree with what they're protesting for? No. But they're not harming me. They weren't taking over my neighborhood. It's literally they walk up the street, they gather, they're gone in 1 hour. It happens every day. They have a different route every day, but it's 1 hour. They're not occupying the city for 3 weeks at a time,
Yep.
screaming for provincial mandates to end at the federal level. They actually know what they're doing. If you're going to protest, do it correctly. There are rules to protest. Now, as for the encampments happening at the University of Ottawa, I don't really have a commentary on that because I don't know what that's all about. I believe they want the university to divest any
Right.
investments or any ties they have to Israel.
Yep.
I don't know how easy it is to just do that. If they're legal contracts, international contracts, you can't just divest them. It's not that simple. I do understand that. There's penalties to pay. Who's going to pay for it? It's complex. I understand what they're calling for in that sense. We don't want to be doing business with that country because of what they're doing to the Palestinian state or Gaza. I get that too. Can we fix any of it? No. Can we stop the war? No. The only country who could theoretically put an end to this war is the United States of America because they have the largest military on earth and the economic power to do it. Sure, we're an economic powerhouse for a nation of only 41 million people.
Mhm.
And we're one of the most prosperous in the G7 and in the world for that matter. But can we put an end to a war in another nation? No. No, we can't. We can't do that.
Yep. Somebody, I was listening to a podcast and said, if you want to, if you want to affect, uh, act locally to affect things internationally, the absolute best thing you can do, and it's not going to come with an instant uh, reward or instant response, but the best thing that you can do is to go green. The best thing you can do is to go green. The more we do as a nation, as individuals, to reduce our reliance on fossil fuels, the less important it becomes to fight over that region. If we're talking about, global affairs, and as above the fifth column calls it, the international poker table where everybody's cheating, and if we consider that countries don't have friends, only interests, and one of the most major interests on the planet for the last X number of years has been oil, energy, you want to stop, you want to make it less profitable for these kinds of nations to go to war and think that it's worth it to exterminate each other, go green. But yeah, the other thing I heard the other day, which was really interesting, and it kind of opened my eyes a little bit because I talked about the protests, and we're looking at, younger people and going, okay, it's like, the idealism of youth, and all that kind of stuff. But
Yeah, respect it.
they're misguided and they don't understand the 1,000 years of history. And somebody said, yeah, but I get that. But what you have to understand is that you don't need to understand 1,000 years of history to simply want people to stop dying.
Exactly. That's not complicated. I would like people to be able to just live their lives in peace.
Now, you maybe need to understand the history to find a solution to how to get there.
Yes.
But to simply see something off going on in the world, we're seeing people like I said, I have no skin in the game, but
Mhm.
there are people living in Canada right now that have family and friends and people they really love and care about on both sides of that border, living there, going through that, and they care about them a lot.
Oh, yes.
So, but yeah, it's I watched this happen, and it's like I don't. How would I put it? It never occurred to me until I heard somebody say it out loud in that way, in a manner that I can understand that. Yeah, if we're talking about idealism and we're talking about a group of people, that generation is more globally connected to each other than any generation that has preceded it.
Mhm.
Yes. And they're just, and they have, when you say like the kid's all right and that you have faith in Generation Z, they have a very strong innate sense of justice.
Oh, yes. Is that a thing? Is there oil in Palestine, in the Gaza Strip?
That I don't know.
I've never heard of that before, so
Yeah.
I call that into question.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't even know enough to call it into question.
Yeah, I've never heard of that before.
I don't know enough.
Could very well be.
Could very well be.
Can we discuss this gentleman here quickly? Because we got a roll, and he's hang on a sec. Yeah, right here. Here we go. President Jimmy Carter, who is near the end of his life. He's in palliative care. Has been for some time, actually. Surprisingly, he's hung on longer than anybody thought he would. But I love this meme. You may be badass, but you'll never be 91 years old Jimmy Carter battling cancer while building a house for the less fortunate badass. There's the example he sets in this world.
Yep.
He goes out and does it. And if you read the brief write-up I had in this morning's show about how he helped save a complete nuclear meltdown at Chalk River back in the early 50s, when he was a naval commander, and he was also a nuclear specialist, technician, physicist, nuclear physicist. Is that what it is? Like, I knew he was well educated, and I knew he was a smart man, but when I learned about this story, I only learned about that story a couple of years ago, how he saved us from Chernobyl, basically. And he risked his life to do it. And they did not have the safety equipment that they have today. And it was like he'd run down, tighten a bolt, and run back up again. They were in there 90 seconds with not much in the way of protection. They said, you'll never be able to have children. He had 4.
Jeez.
Went on to become a very wealthy peanut farmer, because that's why they called him Peanuts back in the day. And
he had to sell his entire peanut farm because of conflict of interest, compare and contrast with Donald Trump not even have to show his taxes or fully divest.
The emoluments clause. So he sold everything when he became president because he's a good man who believes in doing good things.
Yes. And because, right, gee, imagine the scandal. It's like, hey, it's like Jimmy Carter accepted money for Senegal for peanuts or something.
Yeah.
It's like, as opposed to like, what we're hearing about, it's like, oh yes, he was completely all in on the war on drugs, but now he wants a marijuana production license, and the senator helped him get one. Right? It was peanuts, literally peanuts.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Okay, Kits and Cubs. Do we have a show, Mr. Grizzly?
We do indeed, sir.
All right. Kids and Cubs, that's the end of this episode of the Daily Beaver Morning Show. We hope that you love listening to us because we love making this for you. Remember that sharing is caring and word of mouth is priceless. So please tell your peeps and poops all about us. Spread the word. If you would like to make sure that you do not miss an episode, you don't have to, thanks to the Ray Girl. If you scan the QR code that Mr. Grizzly will make appear under my chin right there, that will bring you to our pod page. That's podpage.com/TheTrueNorthEagerBeaver. All in one word, lowercase letters. And if you click subscribe there when we have something fresh off the bandwidth, hey, it comes directly to you. And if you happen to need more beaver in your life, we got you covered.
I don't know
what?
to say to that.
What?
This
At
is-
our merch store.
all right, very good. Very good. That was a good one. That was a good one.
At our merch store, you can get all the Beaver your little heart desires. Keychains, underwear, cups, baseball caps. We
Luggage
got it
tags,
for you.
phone
Yes.
cases,
Yes.
rugs.
Let
We got a round carpet you can purchase.
Yes. Let everybody know that you're an informed and engaged citizen because trust me, that's very, very sexy.
Hmm.
All right. And if you would like to support us in other ways, make like Kit Lane and go to our True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated YouTube page. And there we have some buttons for you. Yeah, Kit Jen, we all need more beaver. I agree. There you go. Someone scan the QR code. Kit Michael goes, sounds like prostitution. I will neither confirm nor deny. I
Wasn't me.
Wasn't me. But yes, if you go to our YouTube page, well, you can also make like Kit Cassie and lick those buttons in front of your cowboy. Like, share, subscribe, click all the buttons. Get us some happy.
Mm.
All right. And if you'd like to subscribe to us in other ways, well, why not go to our coffee page? Become a member there as well. Or if you would like to leave us a tip, well, that's where you go also to our coffee page. The QR code by Mr. Grizzly's Head will bring you right there. And if you're listening, coffee, ko-fi.com/eagerbeaver, lowercase letters, all in one word. There you will find our tip jar. So if you would like to encourage us to do more because you like our product, you like us, you feel sorry for us, whatever, or you just think I deserve more chocolate.
Or I need money to pay for some of this shit.
Whatever your reason, we won't judge. Just drop a few coins in there.
This stuff's expensive.
Let us know you appreciate us. There you go. Because we appreciate you. If you'd like to write to us, truenortheagerbeaver@gmail.com. We read everything. Leave comments at our Twitter feed @TrueEager, on our Facebook page, True North Eager Beaver. Where else do we have? If you're listening on Apple, reviews, stars, all the places that you can write to us. We love to hear from you. All right. From the Beaver Lodge, this is your Eager Beaver saying it could be a tough world out there. So please be kind to and gentle with yourself because democracy is something that you do. Get involved if you're in Alberta, in the Alberta NDP leadership race, or if you live in British Columbia, New Brunswick, or in Saskatchewan because you have a provincial election coming along. Hey, why not find out what you can do to help the democratic process? See it in action. Trust me, it's really worth it. I've done it once. It's a lot of fun. Mr. Grizzly, do you have some words of wisdom for us?
You know, it's some days I struggle to come up with something to say at this part of the show. Some days I have something in my head, an idea. And then there's days like today's where I'm just like, I've been, as anybody is well aware, I've been suffering from both mental health issues and physical health issues as the allergy season is terrible at this time of the year. And it really does affect my emotional health because when you're physically feeling terrible all the time, how can you not suffer emotionally? And I've had some, minor setbacks recently. As I announced on my ASMR show on Monday evening, my contract is not being renewed, which means, well, now here's the thing. It's because I work for company A that contracts me to company B. Company B is not renewing the contract. So I'm not technically unemployed, but it does mean that I'm going to have to change jobs.
But you liked your job a lot.
I love my job. I love what I do. I love that I can walk there every day. I love that I can do the support. Now I don't know what's going to happen. Am I going to have to start every day at 7 a.m.? I cannot go back out into the field and do the physical lifting construction work anymore. And my boss said, don't worry, you're not going to do that. I'm like, okay, well, that's good. But it's affected me emotionally because now I'm thinking my vacation, which was planned, I was going to, 6 p.m. at July 5th, which is my birthday. It's a Friday. I was going to hop on a plane, fly to Calgary, take in the Calgary Stampede weekend, and then hang out with my buddy for 2 weeks. Well, I don't know if that's going to happen because there's a 3-week gap between when my contract ends and when my vacation is supposed to begin.
That would be 2 summers in a row.
So if I have to start a new position somewhere, do you really think they're going to give me 3 weeks off? That's 2 years in a row. Actually, 3 years in a row. I've had to cancel my vacation.
Yes, that's true.
Now, first world problems, white man tears. Okay.
Yeah, but come on.
But come on. I am
Out
entitled
east,
to a vacation.
Switzerland, and
I've
now
earned it.
Calgary.
Yes, I've earned my vacation. I'm entitled to it. I'm going to be 56 years old the day I supposedly leave for my vacation. And now I have to start in a new position. And it does not appeal to me at all. So that is weighing heavy on my mind. And I did go into detail about that on Monday's ASMR show. And I put a link to it in the chat if anybody wants to peruse it. You scroll up and find it. So, yeah, it's, going to work every day at a job you love when you know that you're marching towards the end of it and it's not at your choosing is different than when you choose to leave. I didn't choose this. And it's not personal. It's just literally financial. They need to make cuts. They need to find savings. And I'm just a line item. They see me as an expense. Not me personally, but
yeah.
So yeah, it's troublesome and it sucks. And I have to start over again. Which is, there's a lot of anxiety over that. So my advice for you today is if you're facing problems like I am, and again, these are first world white person problems. They really are. But they still weigh heavy on your mind. Remember to try and breathe. Remember to take stock and be grateful for all the goodness you have in your life. Remember that at the end of the day, you're not losing a damn thing. Nobody's taking your life from you. Nobody's shooting at you. Nobody is bombing you. Nobody is denying your right to exist. You're going to be okay. Roll with that, and everything will be fine.
Yeah, getting some encouragement from the kids in the chat here. You'll be just fine. Chin up, feet forward. That's frustrating, and you deserve a vacation. Everyone deserves time off. I have other kids, Mr. Jim saying, I've been without a contract for more than a year. Kit Jen, I gave my notice this week, voluntary, still sad. Kid Saucy, time to haul out the Speedo and get angry.
Angry Speedo Man rants. I'll have to start that soon. I have 4 jazz shows to produce, a pop show to produce. I have shorts to produce. I need more hours in the day is what I need. I need more hours in the day.
Kit Pete says, let's start a company together.
Well, Pete,
he's looking for as well in Australia.
Have you talked to Pete? Pete, we need.
I sent him a message. But
did you? Okay.
I hadn't heard back. This is the first time I see Pete since I sent him the message.
Yeah, so we're doing our mental health walk.
Yes, your idea's taken off, my friend.
Yeah, it's officially happening June 15th. We've got the route planned out. We've got some. Well, there's more good news coming. Do you want to divulge the news, sir?
Should we? Yeah, I guess we could do it now.
Why not?
I don't know.
We know about Senator Patrick Brazeau, of course, is taking part along with his wife, and we're going to have an interview at the end and everything. But
yesterday I talked to Dean about it, and after we got the confirmation from the senator and his wife, and I asked him, we're doing this. Would Crier like to get in on it? Maybe. And it took Dean all of 0.3 seconds to say, yeah, that's a really great idea. So we'll be on the main show sometime next week, probably Friday episode. I don't know if it will air Friday because I think we'll be pre-recording in the morning. And we will be talking about the mental health walk, and it looks like Crier Media Network has bought in, and essentially it will go national. So we'll be working on a few things. We'll be working on some, trying to get some graphics so that we can get a T-shirt out, maybe a little promo video from the senator and his wife saying a little something to get people.
Got to get the T-shirt design quick, though, because it'll take a few weeks to get, if we get the design and we post it, say, tomorrow, as an example, it'll be a few weeks before anybody would receive products. So whether or not you'll have your T-shirt in time for the walk is another question.
And Dean has said that if we had any costs, for example, for getting the design of the graphic or whatnot, that the network would cover that. So that's kind of cool. Can I put some financial backing a little bit? We don't need much. But given that we're doing this, we're going to encourage kits and cubs to, if in your own communities, you want to organize a little walk with friends, 5 kilometers or less, whatever it is that you want to do, or just go for a walk. with a friend and have a chat, please do that. And on the 15th, and take pictures of yourself doing that. We'll create a hashtag, and we can have a little social media presence of everybody participating in the mental health walk. And so we'll have that happen. And on my end, Mr. Grizzly's got a couple of things to do on his end. And on my end, I'm going to be trying to contact the Canadian Association of Mental Health, or Canadian Mental Health Association, to see if they have some programs specifically for men, or peer support programs. And I'm going to ask Senator Brazeau if there are similar initiatives in the Indigenous community, maybe through the National Association of Friendship Centers or something like that, and see if there's anything there. So try to see, maybe we'll put up an actual GoFundMe place where people can make their donations, and then they would all go to whatever organization it is that we pick. So it looks like, Toronto Dan says, if we can raise 10,000 plus, I will get a True North Eager Beaver tattoo live at the pubcast. Let's go.
I have my neighbor. My neighbor's a tattoo artist, so I'll talk to her about it.
Okay, that's a commitment, Dan.
Mm-hmm. That's a serious commitment.
That's a serious commitment. Wow. Okay, so that's going on. Kits and Cubs. It looks like we have a real thing.
It's really coming together.
That it won't be totally tiny and small. So if you have an opportunity to join in on the 15th, whether you want to organize something in your community, pick just a little 5-kilometer route or a little less, or like I said, just grab a group of friends and go for a walk and have conversation while you're having a walk. Take your pictures. We'll have more. But Pete goes, well done, guys. But thank you to Pete for bringing us the idea.
Yeah, no, you brought the idea.
The inspiration.
This is going to be the first year we do this. We want to make it an annual thing. Maybe it grows to a longer walk. I'm just going with 5K to begin with because, a 25K walk, we could certainly have that someday, but I won't be able to take part if I'm doing a pubcast afterwards, right? Well, and this is not going to be a pubcast in the sense that it's a normal pubcast. It's still going to be from the pub, but it's going to be about a topic, but it won't be political. It's a topic about mental health. We'll talk about all the other things we do in the pubcast, but it's going to be mostly a dry event. Like I'll be drinking the Guinness Zero myself.
Yeah, at least while the senator's there.
Yes. We're out of respect to Senator Brazeau, and I'm not telling anybody what you have to do. What you do in your time is your business. Yeah, but that's what for us on camera, while the senator is there, it will be a zero alcohol event. Out of respect.
Yep, out of respect. That's because he's got the whole enable the label. As well, initiative that we're very supportive of, because it's important to know what it is we're putting in our bodies.
Exactly.
Absolutely. All right. I think we did all of that stuff. So, Mr. Grizzly, please cue the cock. You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors. The Misfit Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters. CanadianTarot.com, their uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community. And The Peppermaster, hot pepper sauces made from farm-fresh ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind. We are grateful to the Crier Media Network for its support, Pete Jarvis for our artwork, and Paul Joseph Something for our opening and closing sequence music.